Welcome everybody. I figured today feels like a good day to do a bit of a live stream with you guys. Take a quick look at some current market conditions, zoom ourselves right into some degenerate 1 minute charts as I love to do on these streams. Just to kind of show how I like to analyze the charts live. Obviously trading the 1 minute isn't for everybody. It's just kind of the easiest way for me to show a few things that I personally look for when using the MDX algo indicators in confluence with my own analysis, of course. It's just a good way to do it in a short amount of time because obviously everybody has their own trading strategies. I've just recently, as I mentioned, come up with another potential strategy using these indicators. I will show later in this video. Actually, it's super simple, but to be honest, I haven't tested it out too much yet. I just started noticing it basically a few days ago. So take it for what it is. I don't know if it's going to stand the test of time or not, but I'll show you guys that in a little more depth in a little bit here. Like I said, just more of an experimental thing at this point. So if you're watching this stream just after being uploaded to my YouTube channel, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you appreciate me sharing these private events with you guys. If you want to be a part of these live streams and coaching events in MDX Crypto's VIP Discord as well, as well as accessing my favorite indicators on TradingView, there is a 15% discount referral link down below to join. So I know a lot of you guys here are already quite comfortable with the MDX algo indicator settings and features, but for those of you who are new to the group, just let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll do my best to answer them. For starters, one thing I do always make sure to point out, if anything looks funny on your charts, anything like that, you just think it doesn't look quite right, just make sure that you've either right-clicked on any of the signals here basically and go visual order bring to front, as well right-click over on the side here and do scale price chart only. So other than that, guys, basically just going to hop over to a little bit of Bitcoin analysis, hop over into some shorter time frames like I'm looking at right now, show you guys some strategies I like using with the indicators because like I said, everyone has their own strategies. But yeah, as it stands right now, I think Bitcoin looks good on a longer time frame. I know I've been pointing out this chart for quite some time. I know a lot of people really can't really comprehend that we might be able to break through this $32,000 resistance. And you know, that is absolutely fair because that's a strong level of support earlier in this market cycle here. So to see that flip into resistance from a technical analysis perspective, that would make so much sense to see strong support turn into strong resistance. But in previous market cycles, we never really saw that with the same type of structure. I mean, back in this market cycle, we had that support level. We just kind of, when we got back up to test those levels, we just really traded sideways. Rather than getting a harsh rejection, we just tapped away at resistance until we ended up flipping it to support and just absolutely taking off. We more so found a bit of trouble at this 618 Fibonacci level. That's pulled top to bottom of the market cycle. So rather than looking for a bounce, looking for a rejection. This was about a 40% correction to the downside when testing that. But look what happens when we actually get weekly candle body closes above those levels. Same thing in just the last market cycle we had. I got into the market basically at this level here. Learned a lot of valuable lessons on the way down. And one of those lessons was we don't always have to flip that strong support into resistance, because you can see we kind of did the same thing last market cycle where we got back up to that level, but we just kind of tapped away at it before blasting through. We never got that harsh rejection, and that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Is it just looks like we're just tapping away at that resistance, not really getting a harsh rejection. So I've been quite vocal in the past that I think we are targeting levels much higher. Obviously, anything can happen between now and then. I don't think that's going to happen this week or anything like that. I'm more so thinking, like, if we do end up carrying on this little bit of a bull trend here, I think that maybe in the middle of summer, we would end up testing a little higher at these levels. And then I think that's where we come back down, face a harsh rejection, get a bull trap way up here where everybody's given up on the bull trap theory. And I personally think if we do hit that level, I think we see a harsh rejection and basically trade right back down to where we're currently trading at. That I think that we would basically look to retest this line down here, or this box rather, and flip that into support. And if we get a weekly candle body close above that 618, and it also lines up with the structure very nicely. That's where I think Bitcoin starts to go parabolic, just like it did back here at this market cycle, just like it did back here at this market cycle. That seems to be the fine line in the sand, basically, when Bitcoin bulls just really take the reins there. So we'll have to see what happens. Like I said, that's a long time away. I'm just keeping that in mind because it's very easy to get set in a certain mindset if you think we're overextended or anything like that. So I like to really zoom out. If this was any other time frame chart, it would look totally normal if we tested up to these levels. It just feels unrealistic on such a long time frame right now, because as crypto degenerates, we're very impatient, and that's why people like myself like trading the 1 minute or the 5 minute, because I'm not patient. So we're just going to kind of zoom in here. Looking at the indicators, everyone sets theirs up a little bit different, and there's not really any magical number that's gonna make these indicators work absolutely perfectly. Obviously, they are still indicators, and they are to be used with your own confluence, just kind of finding your own trading strategies, do a little back testing, find out what really catches your own eye, because we can have the exact same signals with the same indicators on the same chart, and we may play things very differently. So that's just always something to consider. Like, you'll notice quite quickly that my settings, I don't even have the signals up here. I just have my own strategies. My trends are probably much different than most people who are new to here. Like I said, there's no magic number. These are just kind of things that I've found that work for my trading styles. So when I'm on a short degenerate time frame like this, what am I on here? A 5 minute chart. So I have trend 1 set as the volume weighted moving average. That would be this smoother line here that you can see took to, just more reactive. I guess it's a more shorter time frame there. And my second trend is the EMA, and that's the 1 hour, and that would be this more so choppy green one that has just recently flipped red here. And for those of you who are poking around in the Discord, you'll notice that that's something I pay a lot of attention to. People joke about it quite often, that they can actually basically pinpoint where I have entered the market in some kind of a position just based on that hourly trend confluence, because it's something that I look at quite often in these streams and just when sharing analysis and stuff. So I have a few strategies. One, I really like to see these W's along this hourly trend confluence. Even this, like the first time we got that test, got those W's, we did actually get some kind of a nice move to the upside. I never did end up playing that. Missed that move, but you can see that you did get some kind of a reaction from the bulls. So that's one thing I really like to see. Unfortunately, never worked out here. I did swing at a bit of a long there and missed. Right now, I was mentioning looking at a potentially a bit of a new strategy. So I'm still with this strategy. Like I said, it's still in testing. Haven't been looking at it too much. Just kind of noticed it this week. But something super simple here is just helping or just using these W's. I think they're very strong signals. They're reversal warnings is what they are. And they can really help you see the trend. If you just notice that, the resistance W's, when you're seeing the W above the price, when you start to see those going lower, it really helps to emphasize that you're setting lower highs and that the market is actually trending to the downside. Much like if you're getting supportive W's at the bottom of the price, if you start to see those W's climbing, it can definitely just be pointing out basically there's a bullish trend. So you can see that I actually did just swing at a short here. We're going to see what happens. So I went small because, again, this is just in kind of testing phase here. But what I'm looking at for this strategy is, so this is the 5 minute, and we got this reversal warning up here. And then the next one that we got as far as resistance is down here. So we're just seeing a bit of a downtrend where we have our new lower high down here. And then the way I'm looking to play this is entered a short when we got that confirmed W. And my stop loss is going to be just a little bit of wiggle room above the previous W resistance. So if we do end up just getting some kind of a pump to the upside, I'll get stopped out, because then I'm obviously just looking at things wrong or this isn't working out. But yeah, just something interesting there is just paying attention to when you're seeing those W's. I know I noticed it with Doge earlier too. Just look at the way, So we have a lot of these W's that are showing potential resistance on the way. Here's a good example. These W's are actually climbing, so they're not getting any lower. So we're not really seeing the price react in a bearish way, even though there's these bearish W's here. But look at the bullish W's here. We have one back here. We have a new one here. Had you entered along here because you now have the uptrending W's and you had your stop loss below this W back here, I mean, we've got some very nice moves since then, especially with a little leverage there. Even if you say from this W to either of these W's here and your stop loss is below this one, I mean, we still got a nice move to the upside. Same thing, just still trending to the upside. Just if you entered a position with this W here, kept your stop loss somewhere below this previous W here, I mean, yeah, it would have got stopped out had you wait and not taken any profits with this wick here, but we had those signals. We had the take profits. We had another reversal warning. We had those warnings saying to take profits if you were in that kind of a position. So that's kind of just an interesting little setup that I've been keeping my eye on lately. It's just so simple. I mean, obviously it's not going to work out every time, but that's just such a simple way to be able to point out the trend in a market like this. So very interesting to just see how this is going to play out here. Like I said, I took that on the 5-minute. We're going to see what happens here. So maybe I get wrecked on this, but what I would ideally like to see out of this, I might actually end up zooming into the 1 minute. This was taken on the 5-minute. If I zoom into the 1 minute, things might change. I might have bullish W's forming where they're starting to trend to the upside, in which case I may bail out of this position. I'll probably zoom in right away here. But yeah, I just really wanted to point out this new potential strategy that I've got my eye on. So as it stands right now, if I was looking to basically stay in this position for any amount of time, if we got some kind of a bounce to the upside, this is where I would like to be scaling into my position. Like, as you guys know, I'm in a short from this level right here. But as I mentioned, if I want to have my stop loss below or just above this previous W here, I would love to add to my position. So let's say I have a certain number in my head, how big I want my position size to be. So I'm only entering about a quarter of my position at this level currently. And I would like to add, another quarter up here, another quarter kind of a thing. So yeah, just how I'm looking at this, like I said, just noticing the trend with those W's. And then, yeah, if we do get closer to this previous W, getting closer to our stop loss, I'll just ladder into my position on the way up. That's if I stay in this 5-minute setup. Like I said, I really like to hop into the 1-minute charts with you guys just because it's a lot more entertaining. There's just more things happening. The 5-minute's going to take a while to drag out. So yeah, I'll just hop back over to the 1 minute here. And this is where if I start to notice W's, see, yeah, even with this, the W's are starting to climb. So as far as a 1 minute chart goes, I'm actually considering bailing on just basically taking enough profits to pay for my fees, basically, if I close that 5 minute short right now. But going, like I was just talking about with that strategy, basically I'd be looking at, here's our first W, that's our low, then we have a higher low. Really, either of these, it doesn't matter. Either way, your stop loss would be below this one. But that's kind of how that strategy would work. Like I said, super simple, basically just using those reversal warnings to point out basically higher lows, lower highs, just really pointing out the trend, just emphasizing it basically for you. So pretty simple. What is everyone feeling on the market right now? Are you guys bullish? Are you bearish? I honestly, I wanted to enter a long position down here is what I was really hoping for. Just because looking at these Fibonacci's, I'll actually get rid of the indicators for a sec. Just looking, since, we dropped this, had that little dump, obviously on a very micro time frame here. But just taking this little Fibonacci pull from bottom to top here of this little range. You guys who do follow me quite often, you'll know that I love these Fibonacci levels. The 786 and the 886, those are my bread and butter. I just love those Fibonacci levels. And we just never quite got there. I mean, obviously the 618 is a very important one in this market. but I just prefer those lower ones. Also, it just tightens up that stop loss a little bit if you're setting it below the lows. So I was really hoping to snipe a long, actually right on the 886 basically. So I never got that, which is unfortunate. As it stands right now, I think I am gonna just leave this short on from the 5 minute. Just because another thing that's catching my eye is, after we did dump these lows here, we're starting to respect the highs of that little range. So if we had our low here, a lower low here, highest point between those two would be this level here. So that's kind of our new lower high resistance. Again, very micro time frame here. But, we might just be going right up into resistance here, getting ready to see a bit of a rejection. So I'm just going to leave that run for now. Bring the 5 minute back up here. But yeah, sorry to go on a little bit of a rant there. Anyone have any strong opinions about where the market's heading? Got any positions open? Anything like that? Temps is long. Long on Link, long from 29K. Nice, nice. Yeah, honestly, I mean, we joke in the group quite a bit how I'm a bit of a moon boy, and honestly, I am uncomfortable shorting the market right now just because my midterm bias is so bullish right now. I really do prefer taking those long scalps. I mostly just took a very small short scalp here just to kind of show you guys what I mean with this little setup here, and we're just going to see what happens with it. Like I said, haven't back tested it a ton yet, but I have noticed it play out, and I did take a few positions over the week that worked out quite well, and that's just so simple that it would be great if we do get some good results using that little strategy there. Especially another thing, I mean, talking about the hourly trend, which is obviously right above us. So to see our low here, or sorry, rather, our high here, and then our lower high here, and we have the 1 hour trend just above us showing resistance as well. It's nice to see that confluence there. And like I said, we just do have some resistance there as well. Try adding the 200 EMA on the 1 min or the 5 minute. I've been playing with it and noticed sometimes you can get some really nice confluence on the wick reversals on the lower time frames. Interesting. And yeah, using the oscillators as well, just to get into a little more with this position as well. The oscillator 4 up here, we did have this bearish pivot point up here, basically lining up perfectly with that reversal warning there. And the oscillator 5, we also got this big red dot. So, I mean, obviously anything can happen. This doesn't have to play out by any means, but I really like when these three indicators line up together. The one thing is, I wish the RSI would have got a little more overbought, into a little more overbought conditions, but that can be misread as well because it is called the relative strength index. So what a lot of people considered overbought quite often just means there's a shit ton of buying pressure in the market. So it's important to know which way you're trending, if that's the way you're going to look at it. If you're in a market that's trending to the upside, and the RSI looks way overbought, that just means there's a shit ton of buying pressure. Whereas, if you reach the lower end of the RSI and you're trading and you're trending to the upside, that's where I consider it, you can be oversold, but not necessarily overbought so much. So the RSI, it can mix people up a little bit. If you're trying to play a position specifically for the fact that it's overextended one direction, that can lead to a lot of trouble for a lot of people. Just because they're such lagging indicators as well sometimes. with things like the RSI, sometimes you're not going to see that actually affect the price until the price is ready to show that bearish divergence. Like let's say if we are way overbought, but it's actually just strong pressure, I'm not really considering it overbought until we get some kind of a bearish divergence like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, we got the money flow on the oscillator 5 here is also red. It's very thin in red, but yeah, it's having a hard time staying that way right now. We're gonna have to see what happens. Ideally, what I like to see would be, as I was talking about with these lower W's here, it would have been great if this second W here with our lower pivot point, it would have been very nice had that actually tested the 1 hour trend confluence. As I was mentioning earlier, that's one thing that's probably my favorite thing with these indicators is that hourly trend confluence. I would have loved to see that reversal warning with kind of a retest rejection at that level. That would make me feel a little better about it as well. So kind of jumping the gun with this one a little bit, but we're going to see what happens. Like I said, I only put in a quarter of the initial position I wanted to, just so I can scale in on the way up if we get towards my stop loss. Do you ever split screen with 5 minute and say the 30 minute or 1 hour with your scalps? Yeah, I actually do that sometimes. I find that my screens can get a little bit cluttered, especially for doing stuff like this. But sometimes when I'm just looking at charts on my own, yeah, I'll have like a 1 minute chart up and a 15-minute chart, or a 5 minute chart and an hourly chart or something like that. Side by side split screen, just so you have a better idea of the overall conditions. That's what I love about these trend confluences, though, with the ALGO 3 in the settings. Your trend 1 and trend 2. I just love that you can set them for whatever you want to fit how you like looking at the market. And that's where, you know, like I'm on a 1 minute chart, but I can have a general idea of what the 5 minute is up to, as well as the hourly or longer time frames. Really doesn't matter. Like I said, no magical numbers or anything, just whatever works for you. But yeah, just being able to see a longer time frame trend while being on a degenerate time frame like this, just absolutely beautiful. That's so helpful in my opinion. The 200 EMA. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, wants to get on the mic, you guys want to talk, by all means, feel free, or feel free to just keep talking in the chat. It's all good either way. We're just here to watch some degen time frame charts and see if anything else exciting shows up here. I mean, the first lower low and lower high. This week's range on the 4 hour and the daily. Let's just throw up a new chart here. Take a look at the 4 hour. I'm gonna actually take the indicators off for a second just to look at my own analysis here. So the way I'm looking at this chart is I honestly don't see a lower high or lower low yet. The way I look at charts, and I mean everyone might look at this a little bit different. Like a lot of people were probably looking at this as a higher low, whereas actually that one, you know what? I'm willing to consider that. Basically the way I was looking at the charts here is, let's say our support is something like that. Let's just turn it green so it's more obvious. But yeah, I know I've pointed this out in a couple videos, but the way I look at structure, so basically we had the range high here and we have our next range high here. So the lowest point between those 2 points would basically be where I have this green box here. So as long as we're staying above this green box, I'm looking at bullish structure still remaining there. The fact that we came back down and tested this green box absolutely perfectly is nice. I was quite honestly expecting us to test the bottom of this, maybe even dip down below for a little fake out before climbing. You know, yeah, we could absolutely drop back down to these levels, but like as long as we stay above this green box, I'm staying bullish. We might consolidate and bounce around a little bit. Maybe we're forming some kind of a falling wedge. I always like at least 3 touch points before a breakout, before I consider it to carry any weight. And when I say 3 touch points, I don't mean 1, 2, 3. I am considering 1, 2, and then if we got some kind of a nice even spaced out 3rd touch point with a bit of a rejection and then a breakout retest, that's where I start to get very bullish on a pattern like that. Until a pattern has 3 very accurate touch points, I personally don't take it all too serious. But as far as just the structure, the trend in general, I'm looking at basically this 26.5, 26.4K being a very important level for the market currently. If we end up dropping that green box, I think we could take quite a tumble. What was it? I think it was like 23K I was pointing out. Basically, I'd be looking for a 3rd touch point on this trend line. Again, obviously it doesn't have to happen, but that's something that I would speculate on, that, you know, it wouldn't be all too crazy to see some kind of a 3rd touch point down at these levels. And that's all the way, that's closer to 23K. And I mean, if we start testing those levels, people are going to be extremely bearish. I would love to see some kind of a failed break, get into a long position along that. But if we happen to get that 3rd touch point, once again, looking for a 3rd rejection of a trend line, and then see us get a break below it, that's where I would start to be a little bit worried about the health of this market. We obviously do still have, you know, potential support levels and that kind of thing, but I wouldn't want to lose this uptrend at this point. I'm really hoping we just stay above this green box, but if we do drop that, I think it could be a quick flush down to that upward sloping trend line. But I feel dirty on those time frames, so let's get back over to the 5-minute here. Struggling with that level a bit, but not quite getting the dump I was hoping for yet. I'm really wondering if we are going to test that 1 hour trend. If we do and I see some kind of a rejection there, I want to add to my position. How strong do you weigh the divergence indicator on the ALGO 3? I actually think I took that off earlier just because it was covering up some of my W's. I've changed the color of them also. You may have them as orange. Let's bring those back up. With those again, kind of with any signal on here, honestly, I'd really like to do a bit more back testing on a lot of these, because I think once again, if you start to see these bearish divergences coming in at lower levels, just kind of really pointing out lower highs, same with bullish ones. If, let's say, you know, we got a, well, this one didn't go so well, but technically, once again, so we have this low here, this green divergence here, that would be our higher low technically. So if this same strategy happened to work with us, I haven't looked at this whatsoever. This is straight up 100% new here. But once again, if you were using that type of a strategy, your stop loss would be way down below this level. So obviously it would be nicer if you had, let's say, another bullish divergence. Let's say this one happened to be just up a little bit. You'd obviously have a much tighter stop loss if that strategy was to work out with that as well. But yeah, once again, you still want to be able to spot the trend while using those divergences. But I love divergences. I don't play them specifically on their own, but I love when I'm looking for double tops, I love to see bearish divergences. If I'm looking for double bottoms, I love to see bullish divergences. On, let's say, Fibonacci levels that I'm looking at, if I can see those divergences coming onto those and just seeing those levels respected in such a way, that's kind of where I give a lot of weight to those divergences. Not necessarily the signal on its own, but just depending where it's happening, how it's showing up in the charts, I guess. That's where I always say, like, it's more important to be able to react than predict. Like, as far as predicting where the market is going, anybody can have a prediction, and either it's going to be right or wrong. Really, at the end of the day, we're just playing our odds off things that catch our eyes and just weighing out our probabilities. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just hopefully I kind of answered your question there. Just that any divergence, I like it to match up with my own analysis rather than just putting too much weight on one single thing. The trade setup on the Algo 3, I'll actually bring that up right now. I am going to get rid of my oscillator 4 and 5 here just to make the chart a little bigger, a little neater. Yeah, one thing I actually really like about this trade setup is honestly the take profits more so than the entries themselves. Let's just see what this guy's showing us. So this one does have a long in effect. Like, yeah, I mean, it sure could. One thing going with that long position that it wants to take actually is this market flow. I don't know if you can see this faint gray line, but it took a very steep curve to the upside here. So maybe the general flow of the market, as far as, you know, a 5-minute time frame anyways, maybe it is actually starting to gain some bullish momentum here. But yeah, like I said, with this trade setup, I don't know, I personally like to take my own entries, but let's say I did end up in a long position here. Something that I would still consider with this is just how it screams the take profits at you, just how specific it is. It's so easy when you're in a winning trade to just feel like the smartest person and figure, yeah, you know what, I'm right about this position, I should triple down on it. Whereas the indicator might be there reminding you, hey, rather than tripling down and ruining a perfectly good position, maybe you should start locking in some profits and don't be a dummy instead. So that's what I really like about this trade setup feature. Another thing I really like to use it for actually is, let's say we pull down very close to the stop loss and start setting just a nice flat bottom where it looks like there's just some sort of a buy wall. The bears aren't able to push us lower. That's where, you know, you can get into some kind of a position super close to a stop loss like that. I usually leave mine a little more wiggle room, but that's where, rather than getting that 1-to-3 risk reward ratio, you're getting more like 1-to-10. So yeah, I mean, let's say you get into a position really close to the stop loss, you got stopped out, big deal, it was super tight anyways. But let's say you catch that third take profit on that move, that risk reward is just absolutely astronomical. So even if your probabilities are against you, just the risk reward on its own, the potential profit versus the loss on its own is just worth it in my opinion. So that's one thing I like to watch as well. What's the 1 minute looking like? Sock Poker, I know you're just itching to get onto the 1 minute. That one's long too, hey? What am I seeing here? Yeah, one thing to consider here is, like I said, we got the W, and we got those higher W's. So, and even the resistance W's that we're seeing, they're actually getting higher. So there's the chance that this is going to start trending up, but I'm going to stick to the 5-minute chart for now. I entered on a 5-minute. I'm going to leave the position there. Do any of you have any specific trade setups that you like with these indicators or anything? Anything you like, don't like? Anything that you want to provide feedback we can send back to the team? Any questions about any of the settings or features? I don't always have the answers, but like I said, I'll do my best to answer them if you do. I haven't been playing around with the alerts too much yet. I know in your ALGO 3 settings, you can go and set it so that the alerts are available. And then you can basically go up to MDX ALGO 3, click the 3 dots, and you can add alerts. I think the only way I've actually used it is with this any alert function call. I'm not sure how well the other ones work, to be honest. I just haven't tested them yet. One thing that I would really personally love to see is just being able to specify the conditions a little more. Like, for example, you guys know now that's 2 different trading strategies I've been showing you guys, I guess, in the past. I really like those W's, those reversal warnings, and I would love to have a function or just an alert that I could set that, you know what, every time a W forms on that chart, or specifically when it closes, I guess. I don't want it every time it flashes a W. I don't want that alert, but let's say you can set it to candle close. Boom, a W is locked into the chart. I would love to see what the chart's looking like, especially if this little strategy here does end up working quite well. And honestly, here's another thing I was considering before this stream is, like I'm saying, how these W's can point out a trend quite nicely, but maybe it's not even just the W's, maybe it's the orange dots in general. We have the W's, the TPs, the trend overextended orange dots. Maybe it's just, you know, as they're trending up, maybe it's super obvious, but I really was only looking at it with the W's, so I would love to see that as a feature. And it looks like MDX is listening, so that would be great if that did work. Yeah, because the probability calculator there, stock, isn't actually these trade setups, if I understand correctly. It's more so... should show... Oh, yeah. Here, let me just clean a few things up here. Basically, these percentages are more so the chances that the current candle hits those levels. So obviously on a short time frame like this, and they're stepped 1% apart, and that's just a setting you can change. But yeah, obviously there's a very small probability of a 5-minute candle just blasting a whole percent, so that's why some of these percentages are so low, but why the close ones are so such a high probability. So that's not the actual trade setups, that's basically just the current candles. But yeah, lots of updates coming to the indicators apparently, you guys, over the next couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, be on the lookout. I've seen a lot of good ideas over the past few weeks of you legends coming up with ideas. It works really nice on the 1-minute chart to have 2 parallel instances of the MDX ALGO 3. Yeah, that's another thing, you guys, because in the settings, like I was showing, you can have 2 trends, which are different from the chart that you're on. But yeah, you can actually load a few different MDX ALGO 3s on here, and then you could have more of these trends. Obviously, you're going to fill up your chart a little more. I haven't personally done that just because I like to keep my charts fairly clean, especially when I'm here with you guys. But yeah, very cool that, let's say, you know, I want to be on the 1 minute, but I want to see the 5-minute trend, the hourly trend, the 4-hour trend, the daily trend. You can add all that just by adding a couple more MDX ALGO 3s on your indicators. You can have more than one running at once. Trying to clean up the thousands of lines of code also for speed updates. Oh, nice, nice. I have noticed that the indicator has been loading faster than it used to, so it's nice to see that with time it's just getting better. Better, more beautiful. Even since I've been using these indicators, I forget when I started using them. I want to say it was back in June or July, something like that. almost a year now. The indicators have come so far in that year that I've been here. They're just, I just absolutely love these indicators. The only other thing I use is the RSI, just because there's specific divergences that I look for on that, which I've showed you guys before. But other than that, like, I don't even look at the volume, and that's probably something that a lot of people would say you shouldn't even admit. That's such a degenerate thing to do, but honestly, I think you can misanalyze volume as well, and that's just not something that I've backtested how I look at it properly. I understand some basics with it and stuff, but I just keep my charting so simple. I just basically draw colorful lines and watch how the price reacts to them. It's me personally. I want to hop over to the 1 minute. Let's see if there's any bearish trend forming with the W's. Not yet. They're still trending higher. But a perfect example would be, you know, if we do get some kind of a bounce and then form, let's say, a W just a little bit lower, then that's, again, one of those times where, hey, maybe that's a good time to scalp a little short, and your stop loss would just be a little bit above this W here. Nice tight stop, so even if it doesn't go well, whatever. That's a part of trading. You don't always win them. Something interesting forming here. Potentially a little bit of a double bottom with W's. That could be significant, just because, once again, that's just signals agreeing with my own analysis there. If we did have that double bottom, what are the other indicators saying? Yeah, what do we have here? We have the oscillator 4 with a bullish pivot. Got a W with the potential double bottom here, green dot. Really tempted to close my short right now. What am I sitting at? Maybe I'll close half. And then if we bounce up, I could get a better entry maybe, but no, I'm just gonna leave it. What other coins can we look at here? I was kind of hoping to see Doge just come back down and get another W just a little bit higher than this one back here. Like I said, I was watching, this one was trending a little higher. At this point, if we get one up here, I mean, it's a little bit looser of a stop loss way down there, obviously, but yeah, just look how well those worked. Like, if you were just playing the higher lows with those W's, just keeping your stop loss basically below the previous W, the lower low, I guess. That would have been a beautiful trend to play, honestly. Yeah, good point, Jay. It's great to see so many people in this. I'm glad you guys are able to join me, because I say this all the time. Not many of my in-person friends do crypto or talk about crypto or want me to talk at them about crypto. So I love just being able to chat with you guys. It's great. And like I said, feel free to hop on the mic if you feel like hopping in the chat or anything. Usually I let these streams run about an hour. We'll kind of see what the position's looking like and that kind of stuff. And then just because it takes so long to upload these videos, and I want to upload them for the people who weren't able to make it, I try to keep them around an hour just so they upload in decent time. But quite often I stick around and we just shoot the shit, and it's very relaxed and stuff. So feel free to stick around when this stream ends. I think it was about a week or two ago, we were on here for like 7 hours the one night. I just love how tight this community is. So if you are new here, welcome. You're gonna notice right away that everyone here is super nice, super helpful. You have any questions, people aren't gonna jump on you and give you a hard time. People are very helpful here. So a very special community to be a part of. So welcome. What else do we got? AI Doge. Oh, I'm still in a bit of a long on AI Doge from down here just before the stream, basically. I felt silly about that one, longing right into resistance, but I'm just seeing potential for a very large breakout on this one. I got into this one. Let's actually back up a little bit. I don't think we need to be on the 1 minute on AI Doge. I got into this, what was it, 800? Yeah, I think I got in on this little dip here when I bought a couple trillion of these coins. So yeah, I'm up like 4x on my spot holding in this in like 2 weeks, I think it is. So it's been performing very well, and I'm just seeing potential for a big breakout here. So even though I was longing into resistance, it's a small position anyways because it's such a volatile coin. We're gonna see how that one goes too. I would love to let this run and catch a massive breakout because even looking at like coin market cap here, I mean, this is the all-time high back here. Look how we're consolidating on this line graph here. Just basically looks like we're bull flagging on top of this resistance. I just had to pull the trigger on a little bit of a long there. And that's on, what is it, MEXC? That exchange? Because I actually wasn't able to get rid of my Doge, or AI Doge on Uniswap. Wasn't letting me, so I actually had just transferred some. I created an account on MEXC Global or whatever it is, and I moved some off my ledger onto there, and that's where I've been trading it. They do have some leverage trading pairs on some real degen coins, so pretty exciting stuff. But yeah, I would love to see this just get a blue sky breakout. The thing is, the market cap is like, it's not a micro cap by any means. It's 78 million already. I mean, anything with a dog in the name is obviously has potential to absolutely explode. But I believe they do token burns every transaction and stuff. So, you know, it's just one of those things that it's going to get hyped up for no stupid reason, hopefully. And hopefully my long works out there. Palm Swap, a few people have been asking me about lately, so I wanted to touch on that today also, actually. One thing I do like about Palm Swap is it's in a very large triangle right now, coiling up. We've got some nice touch points here, and I mean, a breakout of that triangle could be absolutely massive. The one thing I don't like is, once again, you guys know I was just talking about, I love 3 touch points before a pattern break. So with a triangle, I like 3 exact resistance touches before the breakout. See, we only had 2, and this third one, since we never had a third touch point before breaking out, it got shut down. I mean, I see that all the time. If you don't have that third touch point, I just have a hard time trusting a pattern. The line was still very much respected after we ended up getting that fake out. Oh God, what am I pushing here? You can see that, you know, we got that fake out, came back up, retested it, and got rejected hard. So I'm actually looking at something a little bit different now. I'm just going to change this. I still do think there's the possibility that that's an important trend line because it's been respected so well. But I'm almost looking at for a breakout of a new triangle. Once again, I just want to see an exact third touch point, a bit of a pullback, and then a breakout. I would very strongly be considering adding to my position. I've been in this since the pre-sale, but I would love to add to my position if we did get some kind of a third touch point triangle breakout. I would definitely consider adding to my bags then. Just wanted to touch on that one. Like I said, a few people were messaging me privately about that and whatnot, so thought I'd touch on that one. Let's get back to Bitcoin. Oh yeah, still working out here. Oh yeah, there we go. You got into the pre-sale as well a few months ago when MDX said about it. You sold at 18 and 16 cents. You were super lucky you sold the 2 tops. Oh man, I would say That's one of my regrets is I never did sell on that pump. I only see it going up to 15 cents, but maybe it's just the chart too. Either way, absolutely beautiful. Because what was the pre-sale? I think the pre-sale was 1.7 cents is what it ended up being as a fair launch price. I think it was basically right here. Nice. Congrats on that. Nailed that. I'm hoping this AI Doge just gets a massive blue sky breakout so I can post one of those trophies in the group. I'm not taking any profits on this one yet. I did update my stop loss to break even already just because, like I said, it's so volatile. This is kind of you have YOLO longing right into resistance, hoping for a breakout. Kind of a dumb play, but we're just gonna see what happens. Like I said, I just really like the way we're potentially consolidating on the old high here. Possible bull flag here. At 10x leverage on such a volatile coin, I mean, doesn't have to be a very big position. Could be some good gains, so that's what I'm hoping for with that one. Yeah, that's always a good idea when you get into those micro cap coins and you make good gains like that. I mean, to take out your initial investment and a little profits and then letting the rest run. I mean, that's such a nice position to be in. Good call. I actually did that with AI Doge. I did sell, I think it was a quarter of what I initially bought. After I hit about a 3x, I sold a quarter of it. Just get rid of some of that risk. And when I'm playing those small coins and those total degenerate coins, I mean, I'm treating them for what they are, and in my opinion, that's a gamble. So I'm never investing all too much in those, to be honest. Usually keep those positions pretty small because I mean they can get rugged. They can really, I mean, not much liquidity. They can go to zero very quick. I think this one actually did have some pretty good trade volume though. Where See, that's one beautiful sign as well. Another reason why I'm interested in being in a long on this coin here is the 24-hour volume is way larger than the fully diluted market cap. So that is some incredible trade volume, in my opinion, for such a new coin like that. So that's nice. I know I was talking about not really paying attention to the volume that much. That's more so when I'm charting. But when looking at a small coin or a newer coin like this, at least with that volume, you know, there's potential for the move to continue. There's actually potential for that momentum. So that's another reason why I want to be in this long. Also, the fact that, you know, I know, again, total degen coin, 1 minute chart, true degen behavior here. But we did have our high here. We have a higher high. Our lowest point between the two is where I have this old red resistance line. So my stop loss at break even just below that. I mean, unfortunately, I might just get a quick wick out and then it carries on. That would be unfortunate, but I just don't want to take any risk on with this position anymore. What's the old 1 minute looking like? Getting some kind of a bounce. Did get a take profit from that short, but the short was from the 5 minute where we haven't got anything yet. I'm hoping something exciting happens here very quickly because I don't want to be on the stream too much longer. Any big plans for the rest of the weekend? Anybody? Any poker tournaments? energy drink tastes good right now. Like I said, out partying pretty late last night. Had a lot of karaoke to sing last night. It's nice to see here for my short that, you know, we set this low. So we did set a lower low as far as this little trend goes. I mean, technically, I guess before that, this would kind of be the level you'd want to see hold as support. The fact that this high, higher high, this would be our higher low as far as this very, very micro trend goes here. So I would definitely be considering taking some profits if we make it down there. Is probability calculator levels? I'm not sure what those levels mean. The step percent is how far away those are going to be, though. Here, let me just clean things up a little bit. And I'm just gonna actually, let's hop into a longer time frame chart just so it's a little more reasonable. Probability calculator. This is on the 4-hour chart. Bring that up. So each of these targets are stepped 1% away. You see that? 1% between those 2 points, 2%, 3%, 4%. So that's all the step percent is. So you can adjust it if you want them to be further apart or closer together, because that's where I was talking earlier. I don't know if you were here yet, but on a smaller time frame, these percentages are ridiculously low, just because obviously it's not too likely that a 5-minute candle, for example, is going to jump over 1%, right? So that's where maybe you would want to change that a little bit. Let's just say like 0.5, just to tighten things up a little bit. I assume that will tighten them up. And yeah, they should now be 0.5% apart. Yeah. Yeah, just percentage steps. Oh, 1 hour. I don't need to be on a 1 hour. 5-minute, that's better. That's more gooder. I'm liking that we got a candle close below this support here, but then a second candle also closed below. So rather than just shooting right back up, I'm hoping to now just see us dump down, to be honest. I mean, I know, once again, I know I mentioned this at the beginning, trading the 1 minute and the 5-minute, it's obviously not for everybody, but do you guys find this helpful that I kind of show certain things I'm looking at with the indicators? Because like I said, everybody has their own trading styles. There's no perfect way, obviously. You're still just using the indicators as confluence to your own analysis and stuff like that. But yeah, I just find trading these degen time frames is obviously the easiest way to show you guys that it's playing out in real time, because if I'm sitting on a 4-hour chart or an hourly chart, we're going to be pretty freaking bored here. So very helpful. Awesome. That's great to hear. Sometimes I share useful things. I think there was like 3 streams in a row where there was a couple people with me, and man, we just like, as soon as we ended the streams, it would just take off, and in the direction that like it worked out. The few trade positions we took out did do very good. I think this one, if we take a little profit here, as long as I don't lose this one, will be like 4 for 5 on these live stream scalp positions, so hopefully you're learning something valuable. Actually, we had a couple like right on stream. You can probably see it on my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, you might not know as well. If you do miss these streams and you want to see like, oh, how was I day trading that day when you missed one of my live streams or whatever, I do share them on my YouTube channel, StuTube Trading, all one word. Yeah, I think it was these 2 sessions here maybe where we actually got some nice pumps right on video. I know there was one video here we took a short as well, and that one played out very nicely, but it happened like 5 minutes after we stopped the stream. Also, sometimes I post analysis on Twitter, so if you don't have me on Twitter, follow me there as well. Obviously, just sometimes I don't have time to make a video, so I post random analysis. But yeah, here I was calling for a pump back to 30K the other day, because I do share my own analysis, my own shorter videos. Like these streams, like I said, they're over an hour long, but I do share my own 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute market updates or whatever. And then sometimes just on Twitter. So yeah, my one video I was calling for 30K, and it was like 8 hours later we just skyrocketed right up there. So that one played out quite well too. So be sure to follow me there too. Sometimes I share some gems in there. What percentage is that? Ooh. Oh, weird. This chart won't show me the percentage on the measuring tool for some reason. That's strange. And the indicator looks really weird. Maybe it's just AI Doge is just too degen even for MDX community. Oh well. Yeah, where is Emu Man? Where's Nicholas? He'll probably show up right at the end. That's Nicholas style. He'll show up right as I'm about to leave, and then we'll sit here and chat for 3 or 4 more hours. What a guy. I love listening to him talk about like mining and stuff, though. There is a guy, for you guys new in this space here, there's a guy named Nicholas in the group. He knows mining and stuff like that, solar energy, all that kind of stuff. Knows it very well. Very interesting guy to talk to. And super entertaining. Classic degen like myself. You guys were going hard last time. His mining, solar, and NFT knowledge blows me away. Yeah, man, absolutely. If I need to know anything about NFTs or mining, that's the guy I'm going to be talking to. Well, I feel like tapping on my screen right now and just saying, fucking do something. Yeah, maybe that's kind of what we get by trying to scalp on the weekend. Price action can be a little uneventful, but I don't know. I found that I enter a lot of my best positions on the weekends lately. I know for a while me and a buddy were always joking that just like, oh, you get your Sunday morning long in, because it seemed like every Sunday basically first thing in the morning, the market, for my time anyways, the market would just start pumping. So that was honestly a bit of a strategy for a while, where I would only look for longs on Sundays, because that was just when we'd see some nice juicy move to the upside before the weekly candle close. My infamous chart showing that I think that we're on our way towards 48K. I take a lot of flack over this chart, but as I was explaining earlier in the video, I have my reasons. I think a lot of people are going to be blindsided with how high this chart ends up going. And then again, being blindsided when, well, what the hell? We were so close to 50K. Why didn't we see new all-time highs? Well, it's because that's a Fibonacci level, and we love getting rejected there. Let's get back to the 1 minute. What's going? Actually, AI Doge. Oh, trying to curl to the upside. Come on. When moon. Nice. In a short on Lina? Is that supposed to be Luna? Or is that another coin I've just never heard of? There's so many. There's just thousands of different coins, so I never know. Back to the 1 minute, see if it's a little more exciting here. Probably wrap up the stream fairly soon, but like I said, I might just hang out while I upload and stuff like that. I would just really like to see a nice move here. Look at Link. I can check out Link. You know, here's one of those times. And again, I don't know. Well, yeah, once again, I don't know because I haven't back tested this little setup too much yet. But we definitely have that. There is a W here, and then we have some lower Ws. So if you were looking to play this strategy that I'm talking about, I'm not going to enter another position because I'm already in a short and a long on different things. So I don't want to enter a third in case I botch all of them. But that would be where, you know, when we kind of got shut down here, entering a short kind of from these levels and just kind of laddering in on the way up to these levels, giving yourself a little wiggle room for a stop loss. Just basically, again, just hoping those Ws are just pointing out a bit of a trend, right? Just seeing lower highs coming into play with the Ws. Also, the Ws from the bottom are coming in lower, so... just kind of pointing out that there may be a bit of a downtrend there. But I've never looked at Link with these indicators, period. So, I mean, obviously, there's probably going to be some trading pairs where certain methods, certain trade strategies are going to work better than others. And that's where it is important to backtest and kind of get familiar with what trading pair you like to look at quite often. Most of the backtesting I've done has mostly just been Bitcoin in the past. So, yeah, that's always important. But, yeah, this is just a nice way that, you know, like I said, even if it's wrong, because it's not going to work out every time, it's just so simple that, you know, you have a pretty easy laid out that, hey, you know, resistance, our previous high, I guess, before we set this lower high here. Just kind of a stop loss a little bit above that. Take a bit of a loss if it ended up pumping, but not too bad. Fairly tight stop there. I'm very interested to watch that strategy over the next week or two, just to see how often I see it playing out that way, because man, that would be a simple strategy. But yeah, let's actually take a look at this. Here, I'm going to start without the indicators even. Just because it's something I haven't looked at in so long. Seems that it's entered a very juicy accumulation zone. Quite a while ago, obviously. Much like with everything. Yeah, let's just start looking for random chart patterns here. I know this downtrend break would have already happened, basically. So now just trading sideways into an accumulation zone. I just want to try and find some trend lines with those 3 accurate touch points, basically.
Daddy, 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 the water's
Oh,
okay.
got some background noise here. I'm just going to mute Timai. Um, just let me know if you end up needing to talk or whatever. Just muted you for a minute here. This is the level as far as like a bigger time frame goes. If Link can break out of that resistance, this little channel that it's been trading in, if it can get above that, I mean, that's where I think it goes for a very juicy rip. But since most of us are a little bit more degen than waiting for daily chart patterns like that, let's just slowly zoom in here. Basically, as it stands, this is the hourly chart. Since we have a low here and we have a lower low here, this would be our lower high currently. That's the level I would like to see broken to consider this possibly in a little bit of a midterm uptrend. If we want to dive in much more degen than that, there's not perfect touch points. You know, that's a pretty nice trend line there. I would say as long as we can kind of hold this. Actually, here. Sorry, I'm just freestyling, so obviously, like I said, I haven't looked at this chart in basically months. But just freestyling, drawing some random trend lines. As long as that trend line holds, I think it's in a pretty juicy place. Since we've tested it, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's not a perfect touch point. That's pretty damn close. If we end up breaking below this now and flipping it into resistance, I think it could be in for a bit of a tumble. But as it stands right now, I mean, support's support until it's broken. See if I can find any more significant trend lines. Some kind of an ascending triangle, maybe? Ooh. That could be juicy. Let's say even something like that. You know, if that is going to play out like an ascending triangle, I mean, that could start a very nice little uptrend for the midterm. Again, it's only a 5-minute chart pattern here, but the measured move would then break us out of this resistance here, and then yeah, have to see how the structure forms from there. But as long as you kept setting, you know, higher highs, confirming those higher lows like I was talking about earlier, then that could be in a very nice position if we get a break to the upside out of this triangle here. All right. The wolf wave. I forgot about that again. You're so right. I always point out those wolf waves without meaning to. That's just what catches my eye, honestly. Yeah, we had oh, that would have been a juicy one. See, the thing to watch for, guys, is when you see new ranges start to form, quite often you'll get a hint of where a third touch point is going to be. So, I mean, when you see that, you know, we set this low here, we set a lower low here. What I love to do is just draw out a hypothetical line. Like I said, I wasn't really watching this chart, but this is what I love to do is just map out that, hey, you know what, there's 2 touch points here. Let's see if we end up getting a third touch point along that trend line. And so often that's going to be such a pinpoint accurate entry or a tight stop loss if you do end up botching that. But yeah, quite often, like I said, you'll get a bit of a hint as to where the price is going. I mean, even just looking for another one right now as far as resistance, let's say you got into some kind of a long position anywhere down in here. If you're looking for a take profit, just basically looking at, hey, here's the kind of the top of this range. Whereas the next big top we had there, if you were looking for a take profit, if you got into a long, like some kind of a scalp down in this level, obviously you have a very nice take profit level. It's just connecting some trend lines like that. That's how I like to map out trend lines, just drawing, like I said, colorful lines and trading how they are reacted with, basically. So that being said, if we end up dropping this triangle, I was talking about the bullish scenario, we break out. There is always the bearish scenario to be aware of. We've got some nice touch points along this support, so if we break this now, we might be going all the way back down. Again, we might just have a hint as to where this trend is going. Obviously, you'd still have to watch for support along the way, like maybe we form some kind of a double bottom or a failed break a little sooner, kind of going for more horizontal. But in my opinion, it's important to be aware of those potential diagonal lines too. They can be very insightful when you have these early warnings, basically. But yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm interested to see what happens with this triangle now. I'm going to leave this chart open. Ooh, come on, Doge. AI Doge. Doge wasn't degen enough. I need to be on the 1 minute of AI Doge. Just gonna leave that. So that being said, let's just zoom out and see if we can find any other possible hints as to where this market may go. Let's just zoom way out to the 5 minute here. That's where. So I've marked out a couple levels of interest to me. Once again, this is a perfect example. I already have this line mapped out, just looking for a potential third touch point along that line. If I ended up getting into some kind of a long position, if we break this other downtrend, and then get some kind of a move to the upside, I would definitely have this downward sloping diagonal line on my radar, just because I think these two wicks here might be hinting at where the price could be going. Much like right here, I have another one touch point, 2 touch points. I can't tell. We got very close to touching there again. I still don't know if I'd consider that a third touch point if it was, but yeah, I just like to map out these hypothetical lines basically after 2 touch points just to watch. Again, that's coming back to the whole being able to react thing. It's not saying these lines are set in stone, but if we get some kind of move to the upside and all of a sudden on a 1 minute chart we're starting to struggle here, maybe it's a good opportunity to take a short or close along if you're in it, that kind of a thing. So just good to be aware of potential areas of resistance and support and then watching how they're reacted with. These green lines, just kind of some horizontal levels of support that I'm interested in. And basically my thought there is, obviously we just have this potential horizontal support if we do drop here. This level here also mapped out a line just because here, this is very micro analyzing. Once again, it's kind of discrediting all this, so take it for what it is. But just on a very micro, since we bounced from my support box here, had a high, had a higher high, lowest point between those two would be here, so that's kind of the higher low I was looking at. So that's why I have that green line there as a level of interest as well. Actually, something else I should point out. AI Doge. I don't know, some random shit coin that someone had mentioned at one point, and I decided to buy a little bag. Just because, you know what? ARB is one of the, I guess, one thing with hype around it with this market cycle. Doge has always just got a bunch of hype around it and anything dog related, and AI has a ton of hype around it with it this cycle. So honestly, I was just looking at this as, hey, this is new. The trade volume is way more than the market cap. There's obviously interest there. And it's got 3 things in the name that people are going to go nuts over because we're a bunch of crypto degens and we get excited very easily. So that's just kind of why I got into that. And like I said earlier, I'm up like 4x on my spot bag there in 2 weeks, I think it is. I bought right about there. Total degen move. But again, I'm really just, I'm not tossing a ton of money at these. I'm seeing coins like that are a gamble in my opinion. So something else I wanted to point out with as far as using these indicators as confluence to your own analysis. So here's another example of, like I say, I really like to have 3 touch points along a trend line. Something else that's nice is when you get those touch points with the indicator also pointing them out. So let's say we get some touch points with these W's. So let's say, you know, my first touch point here, the second touch point at this wick here, I'm going to consider that W a part of that. And then if we could get some kind of a third touch point along this trend line, especially if it can be evenly spaced out. So another touch point, let's say we kind of drop, come back up, test around here, and get another W there. That would just be emphasizing to me that there's 3 important resistance touch points on that resistance line. So at that point, once it broke, I would give a lot of weight to that pattern just because the indicator would agree that those are strong reversal points along an important level of resistance. So that's just kind of another way I use the indicators to kind of provide confluence for my own analysis. Hopefully that makes sense. Probably just gonna let this go for like 5 more minutes or so, and then I want to start uploading. Just because, like I said, I mean, we might not get any sort of volatility here, and maybe we're just gonna sit here, not getting anywhere with this position. So I wouldn't mind starting the upload in about 5 minutes. But like I said, I can stick around if people are entertained and want to hang out and watch the chart, anyways. Nice, 21.6% for you. Decent. Ooh, what's my AI Doge long at here? Honestly, I usually do my trading on my phone, so I can just have my charts up on the computer, and I find the phone apps are just so quick and easy. Oh, I'm up 97% on that AI Doge. That was unexpected. I would really like to see that just climb. Instead, I'm going to end up breaking even on a position that I was up almost 100%. Like I said, I'm looking this trade, since it's such a degen trade, and like I said, with that potential blue sky breakout, this is a bit of a home run trade. It's not the proper way to do things, but whatever. It's my degen account. Stu2, if you just advanced to degen level 10, oh, that would be funny if MDX added that. Anytime a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart comes up, your degen level goes up. I'll be right back. I just gotta grab a drink of water real quick. Back. And positions climbing. $120%. Okay, I'll close a third of it. Fine. If I'm up 120%, I better practice what I preach and take some profits. I didn't think that was going to be the runner for the stream. Looks like the short is doing okay yet. Link's still struggling with that resistance. I'm glad to see Palm actually trying to find support on this daily trend line because, man, it's really hugging this support a little more than I'd like, and something that is a little bit concerning to me is that if we have more of an upward sloping trend line like that, I mean, we're getting real close to breaking that, and I don't like that. That being said, the market cap is so small, like I really have no idea what to expect if Palm would lose its horizontal or even this support here. The market cap's so low, honestly, I don't know. As far as their social media and stuff goes, it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. Not going anywhere bad. So, I mean, I'm still wanting to see some kind of a third touch point triangle break before I add to my position. That's a spot hold, though. That's not leverage. Oh, here we go. No, AI Doge, I think the only place you can buy that is Uniswap. And I think it's version 3 as well, so it's like the Arbitrum or whatever it's called network, not the regular one. And then, like I said, I wasn't able to sell it there, so I had to end up swapping it over to MEXC, MEXC. MEXC Global, I think it's called. That's where I've been trading AI Doge. And they have leverage on it. When dog coins aren't enough degen. $132%. What was I thinking only going 10x on that? Oh yeah, there we go. Maybe I'll start taking profits on my short too here. Yeah, I'll close half. And I'll update my stop loss to break even because I don't want to take a loss after I've already started locking in on a scalp. Personal preference. Oh, yeah, this thing could be so volatile, and this is why, just because anything can happen here, this is why I did end up finally closing a third of this position. Stop loss still at break even. I might actually bump this up a little bit. Just because we did have a little bit of a change in structure. since we obviously broke this high. So now I'm kind of looking at this as our higher low. So I'll probably update the stop loss just to a little below here. It's kind of what I'm thinking. You know what? For the small amount of profits I'd take there, I'm just going to leave it at break even. I've locked some in. If we get another... Yeah, when we get a little more structure, I might update the stop loss, but that's such a nice position, I'd hate to ruin it by a accidental little wick just below this or something to take me out and then end up getting that blue sky breakout. I'd be a little choked. So break even stop loss still. A third of the profits off the table. What's the 5 minute looking like? 5 minutes still creating lower lows as far as just this current swing goes. At our low, lower low, our lower high is currently here. So this, I'm actually going to update my stop loss just a little bit above this structure here, because this should act as a lower high. If we do get some kind of a bounce here, if the trend is to continue to the downside, we would be looking at that level flipping into resistance basically. So I'm basically gonna set my stop loss. Ah, fuck, I may as well leave that one at break even too. Since it is just a higher leverage scalp, I am just going to update the stop loss into a small profit. Basically, it'll cover the fees, honestly, at that point. But obviously, once again, just since this is such a shorter time frame, like you can kind of look at the way I'm analyzing the charts, and you can take the same kind of strategies towards your 4-hour charts, your hourly charts, where it's not such a small difference on something like this, for example. You can get much bigger moves on bigger time frames, obviously. Just showing you how I scalp the very small time frames. So I'm going to update my stop loss to right there. 29,262. And that way I can't lose on this position anymore. And same with this one. So success. We did it. Wolf target 29. Yeah, I might set a stop, or not a stop, take profit, just kind of at double bottom territory here. Might set a take profit somewhere in here. Actually, something that I love to do for taking profits. Let's check some fibs. I am going to set a take profit basically smack dab in the middle between the 786 and the 886, because again, it is just a scalp, and quite often those fibs do get respected. So I'm just going to set my take profit in there on the full position. You guys know I don't like being in a short for very long anyways. What is that? 29. Oh. Let's go 8-2. So just looking at this, depending, we're closing this 5-minute candle in 10 seconds. It does have a W there. That could be potentially bullish, but the fact is the last time we had a supporting W was up here, so it is actually a lower W. So still kind of looking at playing the lower W trend. Even if I get stopped out on this position, actually, if we end up bouncing, let's say I get stopped out just very, very quickly or whatever, and we form another W just a little lower, I'll probably look to scalp another little short and just have my stop loss somewhere above this structure then, which actually I would just keep it a little bit above the hourly trend confluence then, probably just above where it kind of flipped from, if we do happen to get another lower W as resistance, just for trying that strategy. So what do you guys think about that strategy? I mean, I know it seems dumb and super simple almost, but like very interesting how it played out. Yeah, it was a small profit. Like I said, I was closing half my position, but yeah, just super simple, just noticing the trend like that. So I think that could be something worth watching in the future here. Like I said, haven't watched that very long, just basically this week, but I have noticed it play out quite a few times. I haven't looked at it on longer time frames either yet. So that's something I'm very interested in. If we can notice that kind of a thing on a weekly chart or a daily chart, I mean, we could get some very powerful signals in the market. I'm going to do a little more digging into that later when I'm not with you guys here. But that could be something. Even a 4-hour or an hourly. I mean, if that kind of thing, if that kind of a setup does play out, you could get yourself into some very nice swings with that if that is going to play out. So. The strategy of just lower W's as far as lower highs and higher W's as far as higher lows. Hopefully I didn't get myself tongue-tied there. Just what I was talking about at the start of the video, why I took this position. Just we had a reversal warning here. We had a lower reversal warning. Now I have a stop loss just above the previous reversal warning. So just that strategy. But if you can find that on, let's say, a 4-hour chart, you might get, you know, if this was a 4-hour chart and not a 5-minute chart, I mean, that might be a very juicy move to the downside, for example. So again, I'm just showing you guys this on the 1-minute, the 5-minute charts and stuff like that. But it's worth maybe looking into these strategies on longer time frames if that's what you're more interested in, more familiar with. But again, make sure you do some back testing because different time frames could act differently. Maybe the strategy doesn't work worth shit on a longer time frame. It's just so simple, though. It seems like it would be hard to screw up if it does end up working out quite often over time. But like I said, don't know yet. So anyways, guys, I think that's about where I'm gonna wrap. Oh, yeah, getting a little volatile here. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream there. Yeah, obviously none of this has been financial advice. Always do your own research, form your own opinions, all that good stuff. But if you did appreciate this video, if you're just checking in later on my YouTube channel and you're not actually here with me live, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. If you appreciate getting these insights on these private events that we host in the MDX ALGO community, if these indicators I use interest you, there is a referral link down below for 15% discount. And that also gets you into MDX Crypto's private Discord with insights from many active traders on top of these beautiful indicators. That gets you into my live streams, as well as there's other coaches in there giving very useful trading lessons in there as well. So very supportive, very cool community to be a part of. I don't think anyone really regrets getting involved with the Discord group. So if you are interested in these indicators, make sure you're also checking out the Discord, because that is, if honestly, probably more than half the value of signing up. So yeah, other than that, guys, with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.